Hi guys, it's Danielle from VA Lifestyle Design, and today what I want to share with you is something that I have been really chomping at the bit to be able to have an opportunity to share with you, which is about ConvertKit expertise. And you may or may not have heard of ConvertKit as yet. It's a software system which in the broader scheme of things is still relatively new in terms of being a big player in email marketing software and working with that for clients. But it's one of those systems where, I don't know, like it's coming up to 6 years that I've been working online, and it's only happened a couple of times where a particular new software system has come on the scene, and then like with lightning speed, it's just taken off. It's got that user experience that people are after. It's got the functionality that business owners need to, refine what they're doing in their online business. And ConvertKit is definitely one of a couple of examples of that. The other one would be lead pages. At one stage, lead pages was like, oh, this new concept on the scene. And then the next thing I knew, like every client wanted help with lead pages. And because this similar type of scenario is happening with ConvertKit, I feel it's really important to be aware of. And so what I started doing was I had my radar out for, I need to find a ConvertKit specialist virtual assistant. And so I'm happy to report that I actually found the perfect person. She's here with me now. Her name is Lizzy Goddard, and she is a VA that has hung her hat on ConvertKit. She offers a wide range of other services as well, but she's really gone in and said, yep, this is specifically something that I'm passionate about and that I can help you with. And she's actually a ConvertKit certified expert in migration. And I'll let her share with you a little bit more about that in a moment. But welcome, Lizzie. I'm so excited for you to join me for this.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
And, just before I ask Lizzie to share a little bit more about her story, I want to share with you something that got me so excited. So basically the way that I found her was I had my radar out. I'm in various, forums, Facebook groups for VAs, etc. And I saw someone post that they were looking to migrate over to ConvertKit, and could someone share a recommendation? And a couple of people jumped in straight away, and they were tagging Lizzie and her, business Facebook page. And I was like, oh, wow, I've got to check this out. And so I went and had a look at her website, and I was like, whoa, this woman is onto it, seriously. And then I reached out to Lizzie, and she shared something with me that I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen, and I want to show you that before I officially get her on to chat with us. Oh, hang on, there we go. So if you can see this on my screen right now, this is a Facebook post that Lizzie shared when she was getting up and running, like really digging into ConvertKit. And if you can't see it on the screen, I'm just going to read it out as well. This is like a photograph of inside her workbook, her journal for the day, handwritten notes. I do this every day too as a VA. You've got, your official project management spaces digitally, but then you're writing your own notes and your thought process and your big picture tasks with paper and pen. And she said on 10th of April, this is this year, I'm pretty sure. Is that right, Lizzie, this year, 2016?
Yes, it is.
That's so awesome. So she said, set up my ConvertKit services page. So she's recording what she did that day. Also emailed ConvertKit to ask if they're planning a certified partner consultant scheme. I'd love for something epic to come out of this somehow. I want to be the go-to VA for ConvertKit and Optimize Press. I'm thinking some collab goods, so I couldn't even imagine it. Thanks, universe. Now, guys, I know you might be aware that I actually recorded a video just recently of something that I really wanted to share, which was the power of setting a clear intention for your virtual assistant career. I'll link to that video actually with this so you can see that. But for obvious reasons, when I saw that, I was just like, wow, what an example of that. So, to set the stage there, now I'm going to hand it over to Lizzie. Lizzie, can you share more of the backstory there? How you got into hanging a hat on ConvertKit, going all in, but also generally starting up as a VA and, how you dug into it that way.
Yes. Hi. So I found, how far back should we go? Should we go back to the sort of where I got into the online business world? Awesome. So
yes.
I graduated from university, and I was then elected as a Students' Union executive position for a year. It was very stressful, very intense. I'd had chronic fatigue syndrome since I was 16, but this new job took my health to a new bad level. I had depression, I had fibromyalgia, I really wasn't well that year. So I finished that job, and then I started a master's because I didn't know what else to do, and I was too ill to doing it, so I dropped out. And I was too ill to be working, and I was on disability benefits, employment and support allowance in the UK. And I've never really been one to just do nothing. When I was at university, I had an acquaintance who had a blog, and it was like a blog website thing, and it was called Young Ambitions, and it was about lifestyle design for young people. And I had never come across anything like this before, and all my friends were just like, she like emails once a week to tell you like that she's written a new blog post. This is so weird.
Revolutionary.
So, yeah, it was the first time I'd ever come across like blogging and email marketing, anything, I don't know. So I was on her list, and I really liked the message of what she was sharing in terms of you can do whatever you want, you can live wherever you want, you don't have to get a job and follow what we're told you have to do. And I messaged her, and I'm like, I really like what you're talking about, but some of it doesn't quite apply to me with a chronic illness. It's not true that I don't have some limitations. I can't do quite whatever I want. Is there anything out there for chronic illness? And she said she'd have a look around for me. And eventually she found a website called Conquering Fear Spiritually, which was kind of like a blog, online businessy. She offered mentoring services, I think, for chronic fatigue syndrome. And she was in Australia, and I stayed up all night looking at this website, following the links. I went off to Leonie Dawson, I went off to Tara Bliss, all these people, all this inspiration, positivity, blogs, but it also had this online business element. And I got more and more into it, and it led more to the online business side of things. Like, you can have a blog website and you can like make money off that somehow, and all of this stuff. And then so I was too ill to be working, and I posted a picture online of a pajama top that said, sleep is my therapy. And people, like with the chronic illness community I was in, absolutely loved it. And I also posted a pair of microwavable slippers. So you put them in the microwave and then they're all warm and toasty. And again, people loved it. And like a light bulb went off. I could make a business that's chronic illness stuff, physical products for young people with chronic illness, because a lot of stuff for chronic illness is very clinical, it's very white, it's for old people. And there's plenty of young people with chronic illnesses. So I started a business called The Pillow Fort, which initially was going to be predominantly physical products, because I had a little bit of experience running a physical products business because I used to run a zine distro when I was younger. But eventually, because I was so in the online business world, it did move a little more into digital products, digital magazine, opt-ins, emailing lists, etc. Yep. So I was doing that for several years, and that taught me how to use MailChimp, it taught me how to use WordPress, I got the basics down because I had to learn to run the Pillow Fort. And then I was starting to feel a bit better. My health improved a lot, predominantly because I'd been spending a lot of time on mindset, and I'd started to get into my spirituality and woo-woo stuff a bit more and all of that. And I was starting to do a lot better. So I came off disability benefits and I got a job, part-time job for 3 weeks, and I quit after 3 weeks because I didn't want a job. And then I decided I was going to be a maths teacher because they were going to give me lots of money to train to be a maths teacher. And I've always kind of wanted to be a maths teacher, and it was always plan B, and I had no plan A anymore. So I'm like, well, let's level up plan B. So I got onto the teacher training course, and it was due to start in September last year, September 2015. And I got on, it was about March 2015, and I'm like, okay, I've got 6 months to kill. What can I do? And because I was in the online business world, I knew VAs were a thing. And I sort of had some basic skills. I can work MailChimp, I can work WordPress. I'm happy to learn some other systems to do this. I can do social media, that sort of thing. So I announced everywhere that I am a VA for 6 months. And you cannot have me after 6 months. I'm doing a full-time course. I'll be very, very busy. I'll be a teacher. But I'm going to be VA for 6 months.
So you actually put this on a profile page, right? A one-page website?
Oh, yeah, no, it was all over my website. It was I had a graphic that I shared on Instagram and Facebook, and I was encouraging people to share it for me, and it said 6 months. It's up to September. You can have me up to September.
I love this. I have never heard a similar story ever. That is like awesome.
Yeah.
Just, I'm putting it out there. You can have me, but I'm not going to be here forever. I love that.
Yes. And because I was quite active in quite a lot of groups, online Facebook business groups, and you know, I was slightly known. People liked what I was doing with the Pillow Fort. It wasn't like I was a complete nobody suddenly announcing I was going to be able to help. So whilst it's strange that I was doing it, it also, people understood and knew, like, yeah, I would like to work with her, because my rates were really quite low because it was just a temporary thing.
Yeah, so people had the context, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So I wasn't a complete random being like, you should hire me for 6 months. Like, people were just like, oh yeah, I would like Rebecca Tracy from Young Cage Life.
Oh,
I had done
wow.
for the Pillow Fort, to improve the Pillow Fort, and she messaged me once I started posting this, being like, yeah, I'd totally like to see if we could work together for 6 months and stuff. So, and I did end up working for her for a bit, but she went in a slightly different direction. So, you know, some quite known people did know me and liked me. It's a respect and trust thing, really. And so I had that trust level. So I started doing that for a few weeks. And very quickly, within about 2-3 weeks, I just couldn't remember why I wanted to do anything else but sit in my pajamas and faff on the internet and get paid. I'm just like, why did I ever think anything else was going to be a good idea? Because all I've been doing for years was faffing on the internet, doing the Pillow Fort, which makes money, but it doesn't make anywhere near enough to live off. But you know, that's what I've been doing, playing with tech online. And now people were paying me to do it, and really pleased with what I was doing. And I'm like, this is amazing. So I kind of put it out there to the universe. Hey, universe, come August, I need to know if I'm going to do the teacher training course or I'm going to be a VA. You let me know. You've got until August. I'm just going to keep trundling on with the VA thing. And you let me know. And very quickly, everything about the maths teacher training course went horribly wrong. I had to do a preliminary course. It was the worst course I've ever done. Like, I had to do a certain number of hours each week, even though I was getting 90% in the tests. And they're just like, no, you have to spend 3 times as long doing maths. And I'm like, why? I can do the maths. It was such a being told that this is the structure that you have to live your life in. You have to do the course. And I'm just like, I don't want that for my life anymore. And everything started going right about the VA business. I quickly raising my rates. I was fully booked within a couple of months, basically. I took off my website that it was just for the 6 months. People had started to say, I really like you, and I don't think you're going to be a teacher. And I'm just like, I don't know yet. And they're just like, no, you won't. And they were all right, obviously. So yeah, I started as a VA, and I did a VA course that sort of, you know, solidified what I was doing. A 7-week, something like that, mentorship course around that time. And then come August, when I officially handed in that I wasn't going to be taking up my place on this course, that was kind of that. I'm a VA for now. Started as a very generalist VA, and then quite early on, one of my clients I worked with, she used OptimizePress a lot, and my first big set a pay from her, I treated myself to OptimizePress so I could play with it on the Pillow Fort.
Oh, good.
It was just a symbolic thing that this is the first big amount of money I've had for being a VA. I'm gonna buy OptimizePress for myself, which was $97, which was a lot then, but now that's not so much.
I love that so much, because that's so significant though, when you're like, yeah, this is my thing, I'm going all in on it. And to get that fulfillment and that excitement, I've totally done similar things. Yeah.
So I bought OptimizePress and started playing with that more, and started helping other clients with OptimizePress. And I just really like OptimizePress. It's got quite a steep learning curve on it, but I really like it. So I did a couple more courses so I could set up membership sites, sales pages, all that sort of thing. And so I was then a very generalist VA, starting to really quite specialize in my OptimizePress. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I was able to start doing some packages for my expertise as opposed to for my time. And that was great fun. And then in autumn, a business coach, McKenna Johnston, that I have been following for years and I consider her a good friend, posted an amazing deal for a 4-day private intensive with her in Colorado. And I bought it. In about 5 minutes, I saw her post it. It was a lot of money. I saw her post it and I'm like, yes, I PayPal'd her. So I went to that in January. And that was an amazing trip. And I got lots of good ideas, both for my VA business and the Pillow Fort, because she was helping me with both. And I came back and I really felt that I needed to up level the Pillow Fort. Like, I had done the Pillow Fort, everything for it, when I didn't really know any better. Like, I set up MailChimp a bit badly. I was using Buffer, didn't really know how to do that. It just churned out stuff when I remembered to put some stuff in. So in about a space of a week, I subscribed to ConvertKit. I joined ConvertKit and I also joined Edgar. And these were quite 2 big expenses for my Pillow Fort business. And I love Edgar, it's great, it works. But ConvertKit, I just really took to it. And I was one of the earlier VAs doing it. Like, I think I knew of a couple of other people who had started to kind of talk about and help people with ConvertKit. But I realized quite quickly that I love it and there's a gap in the market for it. And people are posting, hey, can anyone help me set up with ConvertKit? Mm-hmm. So I did migration, obviously. And then I started doing some migrations for other people. And it was around that time so we're probably so I joined ConvertKit in early February, and then it was early April that I set up a ConvertKit services page. I'd done a few migrations at that point.
And I'll just pause you there. For anyone who's new to the world of online work and VA services and online marketing support, essentially what Lizzie's talking about there with migration is where you bring a client from an old software system into a new version. And in this case, it relates to email marketing software, where this great tool, ConvertKit, migration is essentially Lizzie helping someone to very professionally and efficiently transfer them over from their existing email marketing system into ConvertKit. So that's the migration reference.
Yes. So I think I was the first person in the world, I think, to create a services page for ConvertKit. Here are all the different ways that I can help you with ConvertKit.
On your VA website.
On my VA website, a whole page on my VA website dedicated to how I can help someone with ConvertKit. And I think I was the first person to do that. And within a couple of days, ConvertKit training, ConvertKit migration, ConvertKit VA, all of it, I was top of Google or right below actual ConvertKit's page.
That is so cool.
So I've never gone after Google, but I just noticed that actually I was dominating, and that was great fun. So I set up that page. I emailed them, hey, ConvertKit, have you got any plans for a certified scheme? I love ConvertKit and I'd love to be top of the list when you do. And they replied, no, they don't have any plans for that, but they might be looking to hire another person to help them with concierge migration. So if you join ConvertKit and you have, I think it's over 10,000, but over 15,000 subscribers, they will do the migration for you. That's part of a service they offer for their higher level customers. And they were potentially looking for another person to hire to help them do those concierge ones. So I had a call with ConvertKit. Well, not ConvertKit, it's a person at ConvertKit, Matt Ragland at ConvertKit, he's a lovely guy. And I didn't hear from them for a bit, and they actually decided not to hire another person. They had just reshuffled how they were running it. And a couple of weeks after that call, and I'd emailed, they asked if I would like to be an admin in the official Facebook group. So there's an official ConvertKit Facebook group called the ConvertKit Family. It's very, very helpful. People help all day long in there. And because I had spent so much time helping in there, and it's just a profile raising thing, like I just wanted to be helpful and I could help. And as soon as someone's helped you, the first person next time you need some help, and it may be paid help next time, they're going to think of you. So they asked me if I wanted to be an admin. They asked me and another girl in there who were helping a lot. So I obviously said, yes, I will do that. And then it was about a month after they'd asked me to be admin they emailed to say, hey, we're planning to do a certified scheme and we'd love to have a chat with you. And I got on the call with them. I'm like, I didn't know how much it was. I didn't know anything about what they were. It was just very vague. And they're just like, we're inviting you and 3 other people to be the very first 4. You're basically beta testing it for us. And yeah, so exactly what I wanted.
And this is after you had written what we just shared on the screen.
Oh yeah, they said no, they had no plans. And then 6 weeks later, they said, we'd like you to be one of the first 4. And that's the thing is, like, it's like I said in the post, like, if something doesn't exist, that doesn't mean you can't have it. You can make it exist. Like, they've since told me that I was the very first person to ever put on their radar mention, hey, maybe we should have a certified scheme. And then they invited me to do that. And then oh my gosh, it's been about 6 weeks now since I've officially been certified.
Yep.
And life is very busy with ConvertKit. Over 50% of my monthly income now comes directly from ConvertKit migrations or ConvertKit work, training, all sorts of things. And it's just become a really big part of my business. A lot of it is on package rates, which means that I'm not doing it for hours. I'm doing it for my expertise a lot more and what's in my brain. And
so you're working on value-based pricing. How far into your VA career overall? You're about 18 months in overall, right?
About 18 months in, I started doing optimized press packages for membership sites and sales pages around August, September. Mm-hmm. And then I started doing, I think my first ConvertKit migration, which was a package, was probably March. So
that is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And you still blend in the ongoing, hourly, ongoing.
Oh, absolutely. So I have a lot of general ongoing VA clients. Most of them, it's all of them except for one, either have ConvertKit or optimized press. It doesn't make sense for me to work with people who have systems that I don't really specialize in anymore, because there's other VAs who do and they would just be better suited to them. So I still have a lot of ongoing clients. I haven't taken on any new ongoing clients in several months now because the ConvertKit stuff is coming so thick and so fast. But quite a lot of people will hire me to do some ConvertKit tweaks, and then they'll be like, I don't suppose you know how to fix this thing in WordPress, do you? And I'll be like, yes, I do. Here you go. And so I end up ad hoc working with quite a lot of people, 80% on their ConvertKit and 20% other things they've realized I can totally do too, which is a really good mix for me because I really like variety in my business.
Fantastic.
Means I can balance out ConvertKit with other things. And then I started to explore some other things. So I started doing some like mentoring for people and strategy sessions, and just sort of going in, testing the water of what could be next for my VA business.
Is that for entrepreneurs or for other VAs, or both?
For entrepreneurs, for other VAs, both. At the moment, what I'm actually doing is I'm offering free hour calls just to talk to people about online business, and they do end up quite strategy, a bit coaching, a bit mentoring, a bit, you know, calling them out on things that they're just faffing around about and telling them where their business makes no sense. And that's just a really safe way for me and a fun way for me to test out, do I have more strategy, more mentoring skills that I could charge a lot more for in future? But I'm still at the very early stages of that. And between ConvertKit, my ongoing clients, starting to test out these more strategy calls, I'm very busy.
I love that. So, and I like what you're talking about there in terms of like naturally moving yourself from implementation and support work into consulting or mentoring, and not making it like it has to be this official thing. Here's my official, you know, mentoring or coaching package, but, you know, seeing where things take you and still allowing, you know, a lot of your work to come in on that support basis, on that implementation basis.
So I get my hands dirty, and a lot of people might just be like, you should just go for mentoring, you should just be a business coach. And I'm like, but I love having my hands very dirty in other people's business tech. Like, that's what I really love to do. And I don't want to stop doing that just so I can go after the big bucks as a business coach. That doesn't suit me.
Totally relate to that.
Just sort of feeling out where I might be going next at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one other thing that I wanted to highlight there is when you mentioned about like getting yourself involved in the actual ConvertKit Facebook group. What Lizzie was mentioning there about networking in Facebook groups, you know, one of the common areas that you're awareness is out for as a newbie coming into this is, networking in specifically in VA groups, in freelancing groups. There's some great ones out there, places where business owners or entrepreneurs are posting that they need a VA, but also looking in at what specifically Lizzie mentioned here, which is being in a community that's around a particular software system. Sometimes it might be a community around a particular niche, but here we're talking about, okay, I'm really all in on this software system. Of course, if people see your presence there, they see you're active, they see your interests, there's a high likelihood they're going to at least like check you out, click on your, profile, do you have a website link, all that type of thing. That's something that I generally hadn't thought of and hadn't participated in as I was getting my career started. And I think that's such a cool thing to do now, particularly because the software systems are more starting to operate like regular online businesses and have those communities around them. But ConvertKit in particular, because it was started by Nathan Barry, who has that background in online marketing, it's not just like a corporate software app, but he has that community built around it and he has that content marketing built around it. So, do you mind speaking a little bit just to the opportunity? If there's a new VA that's listening to this and they're like, okay, I don't know anything about ConvertKit, but it sounds kind of exciting. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen behind the scenes with the opportunity there. Who's getting excited about ConvertKit? What's the demand? All that type of thing. And the service opportunities, because I know you've broken your services down into different things. Do it for you, help, check it, all that type of thing.
I think ConvertKit, I think it will eventually start to plateau off, but at the moment it is going so steep. I just have, every time I open my inbox, there's someone who wants a full migration, need to help them with something. They don't even know what they want. They just want help. I think the thing about ConvertKit is that for some, as you said, it's growing so fast, but it's got such raving fans. I can think of one other system that is truly a pleasure to use in the way ConvertKit is. And for me, that's Typeform. I just love Typeform. It's just so nice to use. And
I like Typeform too.
It's a true pleasure to use. And the way they're doing it, they're making it so, initially when I signed up, if I had a question and I posted it into support, they would send me a GIF once they fixed it of Phoebe from Friends celebrating. And I'm just like, that's the kind of business I want to be involved with. Because I'm ConvertKit certified, they've sent me a t-shirt and a load of stickers. It's just such a fun, friendly business. And I know that everyone in that business most of them are in their 20s or 30s like me. And they love ConvertKit. You will not find anyone who loves ConvertKit more than the people who work at ConvertKit, and that really shows. So, yeah, every day in all on the Facebook groups for online business, people are asking about ConvertKit. People are hearing about it. People are asking what's next after MailChimp if they've outgrown it, because they don't want to go for the big Infusionsoft and Ontraport. That's a big jump. And I think it's really created a middle ground between your MailChimps, your Awebbers, your GetResponses, and your Infusionsofts and your Ontraports. And it's a middle ground that people needed and therefore are now loving because it's been created.
I think that's a really important point to mention. Yeah, if that didn't make sense, the context there of what Lizzie is sharing is basically the price points have a huge span in terms of email marketing software, from being able to operate a free account in MailChimp or a couple of other systems to right up in the thousands of dollars for full out corporate marketing automation software. And if you're looking between that, say free and $300 a month, there was no middle ground before. What Lizzie was saying, there was the cheap, low functionality items, good user experience, but not the same marketing automation features. And then there was the expensive stuff, for small to medium business owners. But ConvertKit came in and said, hey, we're going to bring in those marketing automation features, but not at that price point. And of course, a lot of startup entrepreneurs or a lot of established entrepreneurs as well really appreciated that, because then they didn't have to pick one camp or the other. They could kind of get the best of both worlds.
And I think the other thing that's happening with ConvertKit is a lot of the big name people, Pat Flynn moved from Infusionsoft back to ConvertKit and started raving about it. And that generated a lot of extra attention. And because I'm admin in the Facebook group, every week or so, I think they're doing a joint webinar with someone who's got a big audience who's using ConvertKit and loving it. I can tell because I get a flurry of join requests. They all want to join the group.
After a webinar.
after a webinar. I think they're saying, like, check out ConvertKit and join the Facebook group. And that every so often there's this huge flurry, and the people are coming into the ConvertKit family Facebook group so fast. There's hundreds a week are joining, which means there are hundreds of people a week, more than that, a lot won't ever join it, who will potentially need and want help. And yes, you can, the knowledge base information is great on ConvertKit, you can definitely migrate yourself, but a lot of people don't want to do that. They want someone to do it for them. And especially if they're seeing it as an up level, they want it to be done right the first time. So I think initially a lot of people were trying to create courses about ConvertKit, which is great, and there's a place for that, but that left a gap for people doing done for you, which is where I just swooped straight in. But the section of done for you, people wanting done for you, is just growing and growing. So people want migrations, people want to know, hey, why doesn't this thing work? People want sales funnels set up, people kind of want someone, like, I'm offering a check it for me service, people have done it themselves, I go in, tell them this is how it's working, and then like, oh, that's not what I meant, and then I tell them how to actually get it to what they wanted. You know, you can design templates in ConvertKit, you can do some like custom coding of the forms. Depends what your interests and skills are as a VA. There's probably an area in ConvertKit where you can really help with that. So like, I've got a coding friend who does loads of custom coding specifically for ConvertKit. I don't know anything about code really. I don't touch the code stuff much. So there's lots of opportunities depending on your speciality or interests as a VA.
I love that. Fantastic. So if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I would love to try this out, or if you're watching this because you've already got a client come to you with ConvertKit and you're trying to get your hands on resources, there's a few things that I'll share with you now. So first up, what Lizzie and I are about to do is record an in-depth 1-hour workshop all about specifically the ConvertKit migration process. So if you've got a client that has that on their radar, you can follow that training. Now that's going to be accessible inside the Resource House membership that we have here at VA Lifestyle Design. I'll share a link with this video, but basically the Resource House is continuing professional development for online marketing support VAs and freelancers. So if you're doing things like blog management, email marketing support, newsletters, social media, landing pages, all the stuff that's not specifically coding heavy, design heavy, writing, but you're being that like tech software marketing support person, that's what the Resource House is all about. So that's where this specific ConvertKit workshop that I'm about to do now is, well, that Lizzie's about to do, and I'm about to, you know, sit there and learn. That's going to be inside the Resource House, but another couple of resources. Lizzie has a program or a membership, the ConvertKit Club. So likewise, I'm going to share the link below the video. Now, whereas the Resource House is like a buffet of online marketing support skills, learning about different things, ConvertKit Club is all in on ConvertKit. So if you've thought, okay, that, you know, that sounds like something I'd like to do, or you've already played with it and you know the opportunity there, then check out ConvertKit Club. I'll share the link below as well. And the other thing that I want to mention is, if you're like, okay, but it's great to learn, but I actually need someone right now. I've got a client who's like, yeah, I'm ready to level up from MailChimp, but I don't want to go to Infusionsoft, I'm going to ConvertKit. You have the ability to access Lizzie if and when she's available, depending on when you're listening to this, but you'll be able to click through to her website, and if she has availability, what you can do is request her support either on a consulting call or on a full migration package or whatever it might be, to have that kind of like expert backup behind the scenes in you completing your own client work. And I share this with you because this has been a huge part of how I've been able to keep growing my career, being able to say yes to projects, etc., is bringing on experts behind the scenes. And very often it's not like behind the scenes. I say to the client, hey, you know, of course I'd love to help you with your ConvertKit newsletter week in and week out, or I might say Infusionsoft or whatever it is. But I haven't done a migration before. So what I'd love to do is just bring on this expert that is a colleague of mine, and you know, she's going to help us do that. How does that sound? So that's something I've done so many times when I was first doing membership sites, when I was first doing Infusionsoft, when I was first using Joomla, different CMS systems and all that type of thing, where if it doesn't always work out, but wherever a VA is set up to do consulting work or to do project work, which in this case Lizzie absolutely is, then you can use that on a short-term basis and you can pick up and run with it from there with the day-to-day implementation, the formatting of emails, the scheduling of broadcasts, all that type of thing. So any of those three options, the Resource House ConvertKit Migration Workshop, ConvertKit Club, which is hosted at Lizzie's website, or, you know, consulting with Lizzie, check out all the links below for those resources depending on what time schedule and, you know, where you are in your business and your client work. So with that, thank you so much, Lizzie. Let's dive into the training now. But it was really cool to be able to share that. I think it's such an awesome story. And it sounds like you've been doing this for like 10 years, but it's like this short time frame. So
it feels like it somehow, but it's like 6 weeks I've really been doing it.
I love it. I love it. All right. Talk to you soon, guys. Thanks.